Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca. I've got a little bit of a different video for you today. I've just actually quickly sped through my first ever quilt update that I did. I didn't realise how much I got done since. But hey, it's all good. So in my first update, I showed you 2 quilt tops that I'd finished, and I thought I'd give you an update on my quilt situation while my diamond painting is going a little bit slower. Thought let's just slip this video in. We do have a couple of exciting kitting ups coming in the next week or so. But yeah, this is just a mini update. So I thought this one was all quilted last time I showed you, but it actually wasn't. So I have quilted completely my first ever quilt top. I tried a very fancy stitch, which I'm not planning on doing again. It was okay to actually quilt, and I do like it now it's all finished, but it used so much thread. This quilt gets used all the time, hence I'm picking bits off it. But yeah, this one is finished. I did stitch the binding onto the back originally and machine stitch the binding on the front. I didn't like it. Didn't like the way it turned out. So actually this last weekend, I got quite a bit of quilting in this last weekend, but last weekend I unpicked all the front binding and did it by hand, and I much prefer it. So my first quilt is finished. My second quilt top that I showed you is also finished and quilted. However, I don't have it here because my nephews, my brother and my sister-in-law are over from Australia for 6 months. So I actually took that one to their house the other day for them to cozy up with at night. So yeah, that one is in a good home. So that's my past ones. And let me show you other ones I've created since. So this one I have kind of created twice, slightly different. The first one I've done of this is actually with my daughter Catherine at uni. She is attached to it. So she has this front design with plain white squares that have actually stayed white. There is a story to that. And she has a big yellow star background on the back of her quilts. But yeah, it is attached to her at uni. Once I finished it, Caris also wanted one the same. So I've done hers the same. The white, or the what was white, is ever so slightly different. It does have like a crazy paving type pattern on it. And she picked a Spider-Man background fabric, which is what has dyed this white ever so slightly pink. I had colour catches in there. I've had multiple, it's had multiple pass-throughs, and it is a lot better than it was. Caris actually doesn't care, and she thinks it highlights the pattern on the white, but there is an ever so slight pink tint to this quilt. But yeah, I've done 2 of these. Really enjoyed these. I did these in strips of 2.5 inch, and then cut them down into squares before then making them into a very big rainbow type quilt. So I've made 2 of these. They've both been bound. Hand stitched is my way forward for binding now. Well and truly, I absolutely love it. It's like the final pizzazz on a quilt. So yeah, that is quilt number, this is actually quilt number 4. So we have number 1 and number 4, with one of these very similar being number 3, and the quilt I gave to my sister-in-law and nephews being quilt number 3. So yeah, that's quilt number 4. Then I did quilt number 5. This one is some fabrics I picked. So these fabrics I picked up from Festival of Quilts. If you did watch my Festival of Quilts haul order, I picked up these. These are fat quarters. It took, what, 7 colours, 7 fat quarters, and then some white. This was actually from Llandudno. And the backing was from Hobbycraft. This is a layer cake. For anybody who's not in the quilting world, they're basically 10-inch squares of fabric. I picked up a layer cake of this gorgeous winter design. I also did pick up some yardage, which I've used for the background, and I have a couple of the other ones in my ever-growing fabric stash. So I have this one in my fabric stash because it's just beautiful blue stars. This blue dots is also in my fabric stash, as is these gold stars, and some more of these stars, because I just think they're fabrics that will go with everything. But yeah, I use these fat quarters to make some half square triangles. It does have a pattern, not sure if you can see. So this is the middle of the quilt with a diamond, and then we have an outer diamond, and then we have an outer diamond. It's very hard to show these in my sort of diamond painting camera space, but yeah, not long after getting this fabric, I knew exactly how I wanted to quilt it. I wanted to do this pattern. So basically I made a load of squares, one light, one dark, and then laid them all out on the bed. On this one I did a wavy pattern, so I've done all the quilting on my normal domestic machine. Not sent any off to Long Armours or anything like that. But yeah, this is my new favourite pattern, and you'll see, because my last quilt that I finished this weekend also has the same pattern. This one is classed as hubby's quilt. I put a little bit more of a fluffier lining in this one because he wanted something that wasn't, yeah, it was just a bit fluffier. So this is quilt number 5. Quilt number 5. Finished this one a couple of weeks ago, I'd say. But yeah, I absolutely, well, you guys know I love blue, so I absolutely love the colours in this one. And then my quilt number 6, which has been finished. If I can just fold this one up so I can actually move. Quilt number 6 I finished this weekend. This was another layer cake bundle, so 10-inch square bundle that I got from the shop in Llandudno. And for this one I cut them down into basically you ended up with 2 squares and 4 rectangles, so this sort of size-ish block from each one, and then I mix match them all up, so they're all different orientations. I did the wavy stitch on this one as well, but I used a black and white thread, so it goes from black to a little bit of grey to white and back to black again. Absolutely love the way this one turned out as well. Gives it a little bit of difference. Some of the threads are black, some of them are white. This backing fabric I actually got from a shop. I found a quilt shop 35 minutes away. Not even bad to go on a Saturday morning. And picked up the backing for this and the binding for this. The ladies in there are so helpful. But yeah, found a quilting shop in Poynton, which says about 35 minutes away from me. Have to go to the airport and through the back of the Manchester airport to get there. But yeah, very happy with my Christmas patchworky type quilt. I'd actually sewn all the patches together into like a 4 patch, well not 4, 6 patch, but basically into squares. I got that done quite a while ago, and then paused to finish up quilting this one. But this last weekend I actually got these made into a quilt top, sandwiched together, quilted and bound over the course of the weekend. I had all day Saturday to quilt, all day, and I must have started late morning and went through to late evening quilting, and then did some more on Sunday after we'd done some jobs around the house. But yeah, that is my quilt number 6. I do have a kit quilt for my sew days. If you watch my Whip and Waffles, you know I've been to 2 sew days so far. I've got 1 more to go, and I also have a quilt kit from that, but it's a bit more complicated, so I've been doing that in stages. At the moment they are all in tiny little squares, nothing is put together, so I won't get a chance to do any quilting this next weekend because I've got my nephews, and the weekend after I am at the quilt day, so I'm hoping to get some progress on that. I've also picked up some fabric for a quilt for my sister-in-law, so that will be my next project. But yeah, really happy with these fabrics that the shopping point and helped me pick out. Very, very impressed. They're fantastic. I will be going back there. I picked up the fabric for my sister-in-law's quilt while I was there, and once I've got that put together and finished, then I will go and get a backing fabric from them as well. But I'm planning on doing some chevrons for that one. So yeah, I thought I would just do a little bit of a random quilt update. I know, of course, most people that watch my channel are diamond painters. I just haven't got lots of diamond painting done recently, because my evenings have been so busy, or I've just wanted to switch off, one or the other. And I only quilt at weekends and I diamond paint through the week. So obviously I've managed to cram quite a bit into my weekends, having a couple of full days, but haven't managed to fit in as much when it comes to diamond painting. But yeah, this is my Christmas quilt. Do let me know in the comments down below if you do want more regular updates on this. It is something that I can potentially squeeze in a mini update just randomly as I go with each quilt. Whether you're interested in more information on what the fabric is, or where I got it from, or what pattern I used, do let me know, and I'll be happy to sort of do mini quilt update videos, which if I do them regularly enough, they won't take away from any diamond painting quilt updates. But yeah, both of these, well, this pattern I did myself because I knew what pattern I wanted. I just made a load of half square triangles and then laid it out. This one I did get Fat Quarters website, I think this pattern was from. It was a free pattern, this one. This one was done myself, and then this one, I'm trying to think if this one's actually called the Coins pattern and not the other one. But yeah, this one I did get from a website with this grid, though they've done it as more of a scrappy quilt, and I've done it as greens. But yeah, they are my quilts 1, 4, 5 and 6. 2 and 3 are in new loving homes at the moment. Just realised got a little bit of a pucker on that winter quilt, but things like that I am very much letting go. I did have to redo the binding, that was annoying me too much, but the odd little catch just makes it a bit fluffier. These two haven't yet been through the wash, but they do need to. They've only been finished in the last week or so. So yeah, any questions, do ask them down below and I will try and get back to you as soon as possible. But yeah, thank you for letting me have a little break from diamond painting and give you an update on my latest in relation to my quilts, and I will speak to you all again soon.